Start.
Are you
So,
ready?
can you hear me, please? Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes,
Great,
yes.
thank you. So,
Yes, sir.
I think my primary role as a product designer is to work on, of course, user flows, but that's not the primary role. The primary role is actually to advocate for users. And what I mean by that is, so when products are being developed or when products are being, talked about in companies, in tech companies, there are some set of people who would necessarily want to stand in the gap for the users. So in the past, you would see developers, you would see, business guys, you'd see product managers, and all of those people in a meeting. But the business guy is talking about the business side, apparently. The product manager is probably talking about, the psychological part of the product, the economic part of the product. Do you think this product is going to work in this market and all of that? Is there a market for it at all? Like I said, business guys is bringing in the money. Um, and of course, the technical guys are like saying, is this feasible? Can this actually work out? But over the time, over the years, someone to actually talk about who's actually the people we're designing for. Like, do they really exist? Do we not just, as in, are we just seeing them as numbers, or this is how much they can bring? Or what's the problem? What's their problem that we're trying to help them solve? So that's what I do basically. I advocate for users. I update their goals, their user goals. I update their what is it you want to do, right? So I can possibly go to the market or to the field to gather data and say, hey guys, product managers, business guys, these are what the users wants to do, right? And so we update it in the product. We design a user flow for it. What else again? So I basically translate every business requirement into user flow, into pixels. So pixels are graphics, as you may know already, that users can actually interface with. I don't know if everyone is familiar with the word user, because I mean, that's a good place to start from. A user is anybody that uses a digital product, right? So a user is anybody that uses a digital product for whatever reason, maybe just to send, maybe to send an email, to send a message, just like you are a user on Instagram and all of that. So pretty much that's what I do at work. I don't know if that's as basic as possible. Hey, Michael.
Yeah, I think that's quite very basic, and
Yeah,
I know they all understand because I don't know if I told you.
yeah,
Yeah, can you hear me?
yeah.
Or every 1 year is certified Scrum Master or would be certified exams person. So I think they understand the
Everyone,
whole.
yeah. Awesome.
Yeah, every 1 year. It's part of the certificates we try to we give, and in partnership with Scrum Alliance. So
Mm,
they all get the Scrum Master certificate.
mm,
All right, so I know, so they understand the whole user, who the user is. I suppose to, I know they do anyways.
yeah.
So another question I'll ask is, I think I've seen a couple of things, but I just want to ask, like, how did you start? Like the whole journey, how did you start?
Okay, good question. So how did I start? I think I'm one of the say, sorry, what's the time duration for this, please, let me ask?
An IMAX.
Okay, great. So let me be fast so I didn't waste time. So I think for me, it all started. I was actually in the construction industry first. I worked with USC Property Development Company. Um, I don't know if you know Festival Mall. First Stack. I was part of the people that was in that project. But so that's to let you know that this was recently. Um, I was still in construction in 2015-ish, and even to 2018. But I actually pivoted, I actually migrated or transited into tech 2018. So I'm still as fresh as you guys also. Um, so the reason why I left construction was because I felt like the industry back then in Nigeria wasn't innovative enough. I'm typically a problem solver. I like to see dynamic problems and solve them, not problems I solved yesterday. And so the construction world was basically, okay, go to sites, measure this, do your evaluation, issue certificates, um, and everybody will be fine. But I wasn't cut out for that. So I wanted something more dynamic. So I decided to think, okay, what's it that I can actually do? And before, right, always been designing. I'd always been doing graphics, architectural designs and all of that. Um, but that wasn't my primary role in the construction world, to be fair enough. But I was always designing and all of that.
Mhm.
And so I figured, what's the easiest way to actually get into tech? And I figured it was design. And so I decided to go for an accelerator program with Student. So Student, they have like, I think they call it SGA or something like that. You probably might know Student. If you go
Yeah,
on their
yeah.
website, you probably see my picture. So so I started there, and typically with the UI UX stream or program, I did that for about two months ish, and then fortunately for me, I landed an internship role at Paystack. From Paystack, um, I moved on to a small startup for 4 months before I came to Canada for my master's degree. Um, and then after of course, while I was doing my master's, I was opportuned or favored enough to get a job in a telecom company here in Canada, which is Exceeding Networks, where I built the design dashboards and all of that for measuring and monitoring performances of of routers, basically of network. How when you make your call, these companies need to measure your the data that's being transferred for performance measurements, for just quality assurance, basically, right? And also for troubleshooting. So I worked there for 3 years, and then recently I I moved to Unity Technologies, where we design games and just well, I don't design games. Like everybody in the company, like so people would think, oh, so you're the one that designed the game. I don't design the game. We design the engine that design the games.
Yeah, sure.
If that makes sense to you. So it's like Shopify. Shopify doesn't sell, but they design softwares or products that make entrepreneurs sell. Yeah, so that's pretty much what it is.
Yeah. Like I said, and I know that I think I've been in the tech space too, and then I've had gigs where I have to the client needed to design games, and then
Yeah.
interviewing people who want to do the job, and you're like, what technology do you use? And you're like, Unity. Fine. So yeah, that was like a cool, very cool journey in tech. And I'm actually happy you're here with the girls, like to talk to the girls. I'm really, really happy. Also, another question. If I was to ask you to give an advice, like what's the best way to get into tech? What would you say?
Yeah, I think that's like a very good question. Because I hear people say that they want to get into tech. I think like so these are some of the things that are out there first. They say, oh, get a certificate. Like
sorry, please, can I just add something?
Yeah,
if you have a question, you can just drop your questions for now. So
yeah.
All right,
so
continue.
yeah, so I mean, you hear people say, oh, go get this certificate, go get that certificate and all of that, or a certification, as we may know, right? But I think you need to be very careful while getting certifications. Like, for example, I say, oh, I want to get into some product. I was talking, so let's be plain as possible. So I was talking to one of my people at work yesterday, and she's a senior product manager on design and insights team. And I told her, I said, Omo, the future is looking like I'm going to be, working as a product manager maybe later soon or something like that. And then I thought she would mention, oh, go get this certification, go get that certification. But to be fair enough, she actually linked me to reading the PM book. Of course, I have my PMICP, which is the Agile Product Manager, Project Manager, basically, right? So I had already read the PM book to some extent and all of that, alongside the Agile, material that came with it. But it was funny enough to me that she didn't mention go get this certification, go get that certification. Instead, she referred to go get the materials. And that brings me to the point of focus on trainings, not certifications. So when your idea is, I want to get trained, not I want to get certified, because certification only makes sense after you've been trained. Good for you if your training has some certifications attached to it, right? That's good for you. But the goal is not, oh, now I'm a PMI ACP holder, or I'm a CSPO, or I'm a CSM. I have all of these things, right? Because you see a lot of people on LinkedIn like having these titles. But if you look at their work experience, we cannot marry both of them together. And I'm not teaching anyone. I'm trying to, put anybody down. But I'm just trying to say is that I'd say get those trainings. There are a lot of courses online. Do courses online. Do courses online. Of course, they give you little certificates, but that's not a problem. You can put it on your LinkedIn. But after doing courses online, you need, not even after, like while doing the courses, you need to start practicing it, right? So most likely reach out to somebody. Okay, I'm down for a project. So I'm a product owner. I can actually help you go to the market. So talk to clients, or customers, or help them help you prioritize the requirements and all of that, and all of those things that you guys do, right? So I can own this product. That's literally what it means. I can take it as my baby and see it from the beginning to the end. No, not to the end. I mean, products don't usually have it, but I mean, to when you employ me, Rich, if my money don't do like that, I mean, can you go my house? So, but literally what you need to do is be very, very, what's the word? Like have a strong grit in the real sense. Like you're an entrepreneur. That's what it means to be product. You're an entrepreneur. You have the entrepreneur mind, right? So reach out to everybody, reach out to people on LinkedIn. There needs to be this grit that you want it, you deserve it. So I think that's like the easiest way to get into tech, because the moment you start putting projects online, you get visibilities. Of course, it depends on how you, position yourself in the LinkedIn world or whatever world you're in. So document that process. One important thing is to document the process, probably on Medium or whatever. Document the process, share your portfolio, or share whatever project you've done. And yeah, that's like the easiest way to get into tech.
Okay, fine. I also want to ask a question. What is your take on okay, I know people have mixed feelings about these things. First, what is your take on getting internship free, working for free, like starting your career, free internships and then paid internship?
I think that's I learned, man. I learned. Free stuff, they are scary. But again, this is it. Free stuffs are scary, but I think it has helped me in the real sense. So I've worked in places where I work for free. USC, the way you see USC as a big company. I'm sorry if your dad works at USC or anything, but USC is actually it's a very great company. Oh, great, but like it's when I mean it's great, I mean it's of course they have a lot of products, real estate and all of that. So I worked there for free, but this is what it did to me. It actually gave me this edge. It gave me this position. It gave me this positioning basically for the industry. And then moving from construction, I interned at Paystack. Paystack gave me a shoot. I'm not gonna lie. It gave me a shoot. I see people reach out to me just because I worked at Paystack, right? So, and these places I worked for free. I wasn't paid. Do you get? I wasn't paid at all. So again, it's about you sitting down to analyze, okay, what am I paying bills to start with? If I'm paying bills, I wasn't paying bills then, to be frank. If I'm paying bills to start with, I don't think freelancing or wait, freelancing, not freelancing, free internship will be the right thing to do for me because I'm still trying to leave. But that being said, I think it's important to also know that most of the companies that would give you value um, in Nigeria, to be specific, they might not pay you for it. That's why I said in Nigeria, because over here in this part of the world, they know that you need money to actually leave. Do you get? So they pay you. Like, I mean, why would we? They pay you. They make you feel all right. You might not get all the benefits in the company, but they pay you. So just do that cost benefit analysis and see. Okay, so if I'm doing this for free, what do I get in return? Do you get what I mean? So just do that analysis. You guys are product owners, so yeah, just do that analysis and make sure that that work is actually worth the freeness or fluidity or whatever you want to call it. Just make sure it's free enough. It makes sense enough for it to be free. But yeah, that's it. That's what I think.
I think on that at another point, I want to stand in for startups and all that. I think, especially with startups, actually, many startups in this part of the world, Nigeria, they do not make enough to even pay staff, let alone interns and all that.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I can stand in for them for that.
Yeah. Like
right.
Fact. Fact.
Okay, so if you have a question, can I just raise your hand? You can use the button.
There's a question on the chat.
Something like that. Okay, let's take that. Let's see. Okay, does this mean standing as a product owner?
Okay, so yeah, I think this question was asked when I was describing who a UX designer is. Yes, I know. I think there are hierarchies or there are organizational charts in companies. Like what I mean, organogram, as we may know, is their positions in a company. If your role doesn't say, oh, you'll be deputizing as a product owner, I don't think you should want to take up the role as product owner. I don't think you want to take up the task of the product owner, right? Because you're not occupying the role of the product owner. That's from the organizational point of view. But from, can you do the work of a product owner? Yes, you can, because I think it's how much you've been versatile enough to understand what the role of a product owner is, right? As a UX designer, I mean, that's what I meant. If you've been interacting with product managers, product owners, customers and all of that, you've probably been working on, of course, maybe you've been working on backlog for some period of time or whatever. Of course, you understand most of the job roles of a product owner, right? So it's basically how much you apply yourself to external knowledge. But as UX designer, you don't have the training enough to work as a product owner, but it's how much you are versatile enough or how much you're flexible enough to take up new, skills here and there. So yes, you can if you open up your mind to that.
Okay, Damilola has a question.
Right. Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, good afternoon, ma.
Please, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Yes.
Ma.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Basayo. Okay, you said you learned for 2 months before you took up the internship.
I'm your brother, please. We are brothers.
Okay, sir. I want to ask that how long does one take to learn and go for trainings, take online courses before you know that you are fit to take up an internship? Like sometimes I feel I'm not good enough. Like I'm not good enough to apply for internships and all. So what do you think about that?
What if I told you I think I'm not good enough for my role? And the funny thing is, I'm still onboarding where I'm working right now. So I would advise you to know that everybody goes, so there's this term called imposter syndrome. Everybody has that syndrome. I don't know who you are. Just if everybody has stage fright. If you ask the most professional public speaker in the world, he will still tell you has stage fright, and it's normal, right? If your heart can ask questions, then you can definitely have fright, whatever kind of fright, you know what I mean, right? So there is this insecurity in the hearts of most people, but it's in dealing with it. And so to answer your question, I would say that don't think you have to be 100% ready. Like, who measures 100% in the real sense? Like, how do you measure 100%? Do you get what I mean? Oh, if can you finish all the courses on Udemy, or all the courses on Coursera, or all the courses on Udacity or something before you're ready? So don't think you have to be so much ready. I think, like I said, what you need to do is jump on it. I'd like to see yourself as an entrepreneur. I'd like you to see yourself as an entrepreneur. Jump on it, make those mistakes. But the good thing is you have the learning mindset, and that's what agile, mindset is about. You're failing fast, right? You don't want to fail when when you had like 2 million users or whatever. You want to fail when you have like 2 users, 3 users, 4 users, and that's it's fine. But just make sure you're not trying to collect all their money first before before you fail. But yeah, fail quickly, and yeah, that's it. That's the word. Just jump on it. Break somebody's products, delay the product somehow, or learn from it. Learn from it. That's the good thing.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
Do you have any question, Damilola?
No, thank you very much, sir.
Okay. I think someone asked the question, is it possible to juggle the two, paid internship and free internship together?
Very well. Sorry, please. Very well. What I meant is, of course, you can juggle it. Like, what stops you from? I mean, it's the amount of time you claim to have, right? If you have enough time to do so, why not? If not, right? So, yeah, we can.
All right. I want to switch into another part of the question, which is job related. What is your advice in getting a job? Like, first, generally in tech, what do you think is the best approach towards getting a job?
Best approach towards getting a job.
I mean,
Honestly,
like what? I mean, do you advise anyone who just has I get it, just go walk into the company, tell them I can do this, or like what do you advise?
That's a very good point. Like I said, no, not like I said. So quickly, let's backtrack to how I got my job at Exceedent. I got my job the most informal way possible. Like, I didn't have to do an interview as you, of course, although it's in Canada, but I believe the same principle happens because it's informal. I didn't have to say this. So all I did was I got into Canada, and in 4 months I got a job. What happened was I just moved into my neighbor's house, like my neighbor's house. I was friendly enough to know my neighbor. Do you get? So I moved into my neighbor's house, and they are tech guys. And then a friend of theirs came into the house and all of that, and they were having fun. And I saw that this guy was actually a designer. So I was like, Egmont is a Chinese actually. It's a Chinese actually. I was like, Egmont, I have a portfolio, this, that. Even the host in the house was like, he didn't even take me serious until I showed that guy my portfolio, and I was like, it's not that bad though. Would you be willing to? So he said I should give him my email address and my phone number, and I did. And the rest is history. That's how I got the job. So, like I said, you most likely might be getting your jobs in informal ways. You don't have to think you need to go to an interview. And again, it's about mindset. And again, it's about you being prayerful in the real sense. Like, I believe that a lot of us are Christians, like Nigerians are actually Christian, religious. I don't like to use the word religious, but yeah. But anyway, we shall believe in God. That's the most important thing, and we pray. So if you're praying, sorry I'm bringing this up, but I think it's quite important. But if you're no, sorry for it. I'm sorry. No, sorry. But if you're praying properly and if you're praying well to God, you will definitely find that favor. So don't restrict yourself to, oh, I need to actually line up on a queue, on a queue, and for Globalcom or for, I remember going for one Globalcom interview then. Anyway, but yeah, don't think you need to join one long 5,000 people queue for you to get that job. Be open-minded, reach out to people. I mean, cold emails, like just send emails to people, send LinkedIn messages to people. I met my brother here on LinkedIn, and then since then we've been chatting. Like people want to meet people. Like that's something you should know. People, we are all relational beings. We want to meet people, but the question is, do you have what I want, or can we talk? Are you smart enough to actually have a conversation with me? So I'd say you should improve your relational skills, get to meet people more, and yeah, that's it. That's one of the ways to get a job. I'm not gonna say yes, of course, apply online for all those jobs, but work on your relational skills.
Someone just asked a question. Where do you see those internships you're talking about, free internships? Oh, in Nigeria.
Where did I see mine?
Where do we get to see the free internships in Nigeria?
Oh, where do we get to see the internships in Nigeria?
Yeah. I mean, not virtual one.
So, I think one of the, okay, so it depends. What kind of internship are you talking about? Like, or like what's your goal in the real sense? What kind of companies are you trying to work with? If you're trying to work with well-established companies, you need to know people from the outside and from the inside. For example, I might have not been able to work at Paystack if I probably didn't know anybody there, or if I didn't have a sister or brother there. So say, for example, I don't have a sister or brother, how do I work there? Most likely you would need someone who knows somebody there, right? So that's what happened to me. So Stuton actually knew, they had a relationship with those guys, right? So you can actually also, would I say, I can talk with Michael, maybe link Michael up with Stuton also, so that they can be this formal relationship where you can also get work with all of these companies. But again, it's about having, like, getting into a school first, just like you've done, and then building that relationship based on your school with companies. Oh, I've worked just like your certificate right now. You can use your certificate to work at Stuton. I'm sorry, at Paystack, at Florida Wave, and all of these companies. But you need to know you're coming from a credible institution, basically, right? But I can talk to Michael and probably link him up to Stuton for that.
Yeah, I think you're very happy about that too.
Yes.
Now, yeah, we'll talk about that soon later.
It's all right. Yeah.
Okay. Any other question? I want to be sure there are no questions. So do you have any questions? Who has questions in the house? Okay. No question then. Let me keep asking. All right. Like we said, we talked about I wanted to first talk on the broad scale and then narrow it down to, because we have people who were trained in UI UX, and I know some of them have questions that they probably don't want to ask, but I'll ask on their behalf. So, like UI UX, because this is like something that is that relates directly with you. So, what is your advice? What's your advice on a portfolio? How do you feel, or what would you advise a portfolio should look like?
I think the bedrock of a portfolio is storytelling, basically, right? Well, no matter the kind of project you've done, whether it's mama puts, you're trying to help the mama puts sell more with some product or some websites, maybe just you're showcasing art or whatever you're doing, or you're showcasing shoes. Maybe you built a site for that. No matter what the idea is, I think it should be solution focused, right? So spend much time in convincing people that this is actually a problem. But when I say spend much time, I don't mean you should use almost the portfolio to explain the problem. All I meant was be concise and be very visual about the problem, right? So you need to, if people don't see a problem in it, they don't see value in what you built, right? So be very, very deliberate about how you frame your problem solution section. Be very deliberate about it. If you want to put up graphics to make that more visual for people, because people don't want to read a lot of words, right? And also add some data to whatever you've done. Add some research to it. I'm not just coming up with, I'm not just bringing this up by what I think. I actually did some research. So also it's important to carry out user research, no matter how small the research. It could be an interview with one person, or one person might not be enough to, it depends on what your product is for, right? But it basically just carry out your research. Of course, like I said, make it problem solution centered, like center whatever you're validating throughout the portfolio is the problem you're trying to validate and then you're trying to solve in the real sense. Then also, like I said, make it a story, make it interesting for people to look at or to read. Then also, it will be good to add like a Medium page, like like an article to whatever you did. So aside your portfolio, go and make a write-up on it. Explain your design constraints. When I say design constraints, there's always going to be constraints in the world, right? There's from economics, right? We have limited resources. Resources is scarce, right? So that's the way it's in tech also. You didn't have everything while you were designing. It was probably a technical constraint, or maybe a design constraint, a financial, whatever constraint it is. Maybe the team probably didn't do well. They want to see those imperfections in a real sense, and you can explain them in your Medium article. You can also explain them in your portfolio, like whatever works for you is fine. But I think a Medium article will be also great to have for each of the projects you do, or for some of the projects.
All right. I think Chioma has a question.
Yes, please.
Chioma, can you?
Yeah, I have a question. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, we can.
Sorry, where I am is a bit loud, but what I wanted to ask was, so you said you started off in Lagos and then when you moved to Canada, is there like a difference from like in like design world? Like, did you feel like there were certain things that you had to learn or unlearn because you're in a new community, or it's just pretty like the same thing and everything just goes like basically what you've been taught before and what you understood before?
Yeah. That's actually a very good question. What's actually different? I think, of course, there are differences. There are differences, starting from the culture shock, But I think people here are more particular about the process than what you put out there. Like when it comes to design work itself, they're more particular about how did you get this done? Like, I want to know how. Like, was it design thinking? Was it system thinking? Like, what was your thought process about it? So if you see someone making a presentation, what they will present is framework, right? What they'll present is mind maps. What they'll present is concept maps. What they'll present, so you might just see one or two slides that shows the product or the outcome, right? So that's something I also saw here, that they are very deliberate about the frameworks or how they were able to come about some solutions, right? So that's number one thing I saw. So you need to know that you're an advocate. You need to know that there is this thing of design advocacy in the real sense, right? So they're trying to say that design has a place, as a seat in decision making of any company. And so they're saying that designers now should pick up problem solving skills and not UI graphics not just UI graphic skills, not just how it looks, but how it feels, how it works. So you need to begin to look into how systems work. I would advise you to just go read up system thinking, how a system affects one system, ecosystem mapping, and all of those things. Go and look at them, because that's something I learned here. They're more deliberate about how, because I mean, look at the world. The world in itself is how would I put it? It's like a system. See a system, parts make up a system, right? So there are different interactions in the parts of the system that will determine how the system will function. The system doesn't just determine itself. It's the parts that actually determine how the system works. So say, for example, you want to solve Nigeria's problem. You're not going to start solving Nigeria's problem by looking at the government alone. But you're going to look at the relationship of the government, the relationship the government has with the people, right? You're going to look at how the home and the society works. So there are a lot of things that you need to actually consider that would actually tell about the outcome of why Nigeria is why it is how it is, right? So those are things you need to look into system thinking, look into how things operate. And also, just to be very quick on this, is also team building. Or teamwork in the real sense. I think you must be a very critical team player. Like, you must be fundamentally a team player. Like, if you're not able to take critical feedback, if you take things personal, these people for this place, they are not shy to give their feedback. But although Canadians are quite nice, right? So we're nice here. So, but they're not, like, generally, we're not shy to give our feedbacks. Yeah, we're not shy to give our feedback since I'm in Canada. but yeah, they're not shy to give their feedbacks and all that. So you need to be able to know that they're not coming for you, they're coming for the work. And the goal is to make the work better because they are also associated with the work. So that's something I also learned. What else did I learn again? Of course, there are more communities here than you can actually imagine. When I say communities, I mean design communities. Like, you can join as many communities as you want to. AI community, VR community, AR community. There are lots of communities you can join here. Data visualization. There are a lot of them you can join here, but I don't know about them over there in Nigeria, if there are communities that you can actually join. What else? They invest so much time in design systems also. So, right, so they see that design system saves time, and let's not focus on how it looks. Let's focus on how we solve the problem. And then once the problem is solved, we don't have to spend more time. All we need to do is bring out components from our design library or design systems, and then voila, everything is done. So I think those are key lessons I've learned from like the difference between Nigeria and Canada in the real sense.
All right. I think
Okay,
Chioma
thank
has
you.
asked a question.
Why do you think that I have questions?
I know you still
Well,
have
I mean,
questions.
So you answered most of my questions, right? Because like that's something I've noticed as well. Like most of the time, they're not really focused on like what you bring out is like the process. So you see things like even as from the beginning, you're brainstorming, they want to see pictures of what you thought about, what were your initial decisions and things like that. So yeah, you answered my question well. I don't have any questions right now, but if I definitely think of something, I'll definitely share before the end of this meeting.
Okay. Our time is going, and I'm scared.
Mm-hmm.
All right, because we still want to have you and ask. So who else ask another question? Okay, so back to me, my questions. What's your LinkedIn strategy?
LinkedIn strategy, good question. LinkedIn strategy. I think it was recently I started taking LinkedIn. No, that's not true. I've actually been on LinkedIn for a while. What's my LinkedIn strategy?
Because I see you like LinkedIn so much. I can tell that you like LinkedIn so much.
The amount of work I put into it. I'm tired of myself. And it's not like I'm looking for a job. But yeah, um, I think it's okay. Let me answer the question. Why do I focus on LinkedIn? I think it's quite important to know that people are looking for you, not just for jobs. People want to talk to you, and of course, this is the professional world. They want to know what value do you bring to the table. Of course, you have your peers, right? You know that value drives every decision you make. Like, what's the decision I'm making? What value does it bring? Um, to the table. And so I I want to be perceived as is some. So the question is, what do you want to be perceived as? That's what social media is about. Like, what do you want people to know you for? And I think what I wanted people to know me for was basically value, that I could solve problems. And you might want to be the strategy for me was I'm diverse, right? I've worked in the construction industry. I've done some projects in e-commerce. I've done some projects in telecoms. Now I'm in the game industry, VR industry, AR industry. And so I wanted people to know that, oh, I'm actually that flexible. And I think it's good for me because I'm a designer first. I could be in the construction industry tomorrow. I could be in whatever industry tomorrow. So whatever background you have, don't be shy about it. Put it up there, right? But again, the strategy, I know there are different ways to frame up your roles and not roles and responsibility. Don't write roles and responsibility on your LinkedIn. Instead, write achievements. If you go on my LinkedIn now, you see roles and responsibilities. That shows that human beings, they don't do what they say. But I mean,
I mean, you're not looking for jobs. Like,
that is what you preach. So don't go on my LinkedIn. I told you, please. So, but yeah, I think the practice is focus on achievements, right? If you looked at my resume, you probably see something better. Focus on your achievements. Of course, I think there's the star, the star structure situation. I think I can't remember situation, something, action and results, something like that, right? So use that method to kind of like, or that structure to kind of like frame up your achievements, and of course put some data to it. I'm not going to say you should lie about data, but they're not going to go validate your data again, right? So if you want to put 2.22222 to show that you're very accurate and very precise percent, you can do that. But again, put some data to it. But they're not just going to go confirm all of those data, but put some data to it. So however you can come up with those data is up to you. But yeah, so that's my strategy. And also, I think I like to reach out to people once in a while, just to create connections. And I like to comment on people's achievements. Again, something happened recently. So I always applied to Shopify before now. And Shopify's headquarters is just here in my city, Ottawa. But I wasn't getting it. But recently, someone just reached out to me because I reached out to him